Kim told Yoon-seo that she could give up the training if she wanted to, but in exchange her training score would be forfeited. He asked her what her choice was. She agreed to submit to him, asking him to take good care of her. Another hunter mentioned that Kim was like a monster, wondering how he still had so much strength. A second hunter remarked that Kim didn't seem human at all. Chio instructed them to follow the platoon vice commander in the rear and to report immediately if Kim showed signs of fatigue. Kim appeared unfazed and insisted that it wouldn't happen. Chio thought that Kim had mixed up his words and thoughts. Turning to look at Yoon-seo with a strange smile, Kim felt that this was an accomplishment in the flesh. He then rushed ahead, lifting her with ease. A hunter told Do that some were saying Yoon-seo received special treatment because she was the daughter of another division commander. Do replied that there were no regulations stating they shouldn't help the injured, emphasizing that it was supposed to be part of the training. The hunter agreed. Do continued, saying there was something they were missing Don Tayo. As Yoon-seo sat on Kim's shoulder, she felt uncomfortable and out of place. She then told Kim that if he got tired, he should put her down because she would just give up. He replied that it was fine and that she was lighter than the steel. She wondered about the steel's weight. He guessed that it would be around 50. Yoon-seo asked him to wait, saying she was going to keep quiet, so he should please do the same. She promised that she would repay him one day for his assistance. He agreed and looked forward to it, thinking that if her father were the one to repay him, that would be even better. He mused about their location and again mentioned that she was lighter than steel and around 50. This annoyed her, and she told him to shut up. Do and the other hunter were happy to see her stand her ground. As night fell, some of them began to tire. The red-haired hunter wished for no monsters to appear. Another remarked that it felt like hell. They wondered who had changed the training difficulty from normal to hellish. The leader announced that there were about 2 kilometers left, urging everyone to maintain focus and not let their guard down until the end, and instructed them to relay that message. They suddenly heard a sound, and one of the hunters alerted the commander that there were monsters up ahead in mid-air. The commander instructed the troops to prepare for battle against the airborne monsters. As the creatures rushed to attack, the commander wondered why the black rakes had appeared at such a time. Do watched the scene unfold, thinking that they had come all this way with an already injured troop, only to face such misfortune. The black rakes were small, sparrow-sized monsters, but their claws and teeth were sharp enough to tear through skin. While the hunters wouldn't die from such injuries, it would be extremely agonizing, and the monsters were remarkably tenacious. Do struggled to see them clearly as his eyesight was deteriorating. The hunters attempted to attack the monsters, but the black rakes expertly dodged their strikes. Do remarked that it was a predicament from the perspective of a training director acting as an injured person. The hunters' reactions could lead to point deductions. One of the hunters thought that they couldn't use the excuse of being tired or having limited visibility. After all, they were all hunters, and even if he left his post to run over to help, it wouldn't make much of a difference. This could lead to an even bigger point deduction if he fell out of line, so he decided to trust the platoon commander for now and await his orders. Kim was still lifting Yoon-seo when he overheard that their points might be deducted, which filled him with rage. He rushed forward with Yoon-seo in his arms. Shocked, she asked where he was going. He approached the commander, asking for a chance to act. The commander was taken aback and asked what Kim meant and how he could carry her while doing that. Kim replied that they had reached their limits and couldn't continue as they were, so he would take the initiative. The commander agreed but asked what his plan was. As Kim explained his strategy, both the commander and Yoon-seo were stunned. Yoon-seo appeared worried as well. The commander told Kim that if it didn't work, they would retreat immediately, meaning Kim only had one chance. Kim acknowledged this. Yoon-seo wondered how Kim's plan could possibly make sense in such a situation. With the monsters flying in the sky, the commander asked Kim to pass him the injured soldier. Kim replied that there wasn't any time to waste and urged the commander to execute the plan right away. The commander instructed the others to move behind Kim and prepare to open fire. Do was surprised by this order and wondered if they were really planning to shoot the monsters down with their rifles. Kim grabbed a gun and told Yoon-seo to hold on tight, emphasizing that he didn't want to lose the injured. She clung to him tightly, and Kim thought that the monsters resembled dark mages. He felt familiar with the darkness, having been in the novice hunting ground since the beginning of DPPP. On top of that, he possessed the dark arrow skill, which could be concealed in a long-range weapon. He aimed and shot at a monster, successfully killing it. Yunzio was astonished and asked how he had done that. Kim reasoned that it was hard to dodge a bullet that had grown to the size of a cannonball due to the demonic energy surrounding it, especially in the middle of the night. He continued shooting, taking down a few more monsters, which left the other hunters in awe. Kim thought to himself that this was just too much. They all continued walking until they reached their destination, where others were waiting and clapping for them. The hunters with Kim were exhausted and wondered if it was finally over. A man announced that they had all passed the test, and Kim felt a surge of happiness knowing that everyone had succeeded. The man then called for the medical team to attend to Yunzio. The commander of Kim's team referred to his hunters as bastards in a light-hearted way, expressing appreciation for their hard work and thanking them for not giving up and holding out until the end. Everyone was elated at that moment. One hunter reminded the group not to be disheveled until the very end and announced that they would relocate the barracks and take their rest, urging everyone to move. As the weary hunters prepared to rest, Min noticed that Kim was still carrying Yunzio and asked where he should put her. Min approached Kim, complimenting him for working so hard and being the first to take action, not shying away from any danger. Kim thanked him, thinking that it was an obvious fact, yet he still felt a bit bashful. Yunzio then asked Kim to put her down. As Yunzio got down onto the stretcher, she apologized for any inconvenience she might have caused their platoon and expressed her gratitude as well. Min was glad that they had been able to finish the training together and reassured her that she didn't have to think of herself as a burden. Du laughed and exclaimed that it was great, and by the end the entire platoon had managed to complete the training. He was filled with excitement at that moment, telling Lin that it was all thanks to him. Just then, the 104th Division, 4th Battalion Commander, Yu Ji arrived, which made Du fall silent. Yu Ji asked Yunzio how her injury was. Yunzio introduced herself and explained that aside from a minor injury to her left ankle, there was nothing serious. Yu Ji remarked that Yunzio was lucky, considering she had fallen into a dungeon hole, and instructed the others to transport Yunzio with care. They all agreed to this. Yu Ji then turned her attention to Du, asking how the training observation had gone and if she could request a private conversation about it. Du asked if she wanted to do that now. She agreed with a peculiar smile. The next morning, as Kim was having a meal all alone, his plate was already piled high with food. A man approached him with more fried chicken and asked if Kim wanted more. Happy at the offer, Kim asked if it was all right for him to eat all that. The man agreed, explaining that since everyone was still sleeping, he doubted anyone else would come to eat now. Just then, Lin took the plate full of fried chicken from Kim and declared that he wouldn't let the man's hard work go to waste. The man then asked if Kim was from the 2nd Platoon of the 2nd Company, mentioning that he had heard they were the best in the division during training. Kim inquired if that was true. The man confirmed it, saying he had overheard some executives discussing it earlier, where the battalion commander praised Kim's accomplishments. He even mentioned hearing that Kim had taken care of all the black rakes in the middle of the night. Was that true? Kim replied that it had indeed turned out that way. The man was astonished and asked if it was even possible to defeat such monsters at night, calling Kim incredible. He noted that the recent round of field maneuvers had been the toughest, with around 70% of the privates and privates first class throughout the division having given up. The man continued to talk about various topics that Kim didn't want to hear, but he couldn't help but enjoy the juicy meat he was eating. Meanwhile, some senior hunters were walking in the corridor with 2 others by their side. As a senior, one of them looked out the window at the camp and remarked how quiet it was. SEO agreed, noting that since they had some free time in the morning, as the senior suggested, the majority of the soldiers were still sleeping. The senior insisted that those hunters should still get up and eat, considering how hard they had worked during training. He added that the division commander was very impressed. Chiwu chimed in, saying he had heard that the commander had personally observed the 2nd Platoon of the 2nd Company. As expected from our division commander, he's so cool, but not overbearing at all. As Chiwu spoke, he noticed the senior and CO glaring at him and asked if he had said something wrong. They then informed Chiwu that during last night's meeting, Yuji had shouted at Du, claiming it was all because of him. It seemed the 4th Battalion commander was quite worked up about that incident. Chiwu asked if she really said that and how she could speak to the division commander in such a manner. The senior replied that it wasn't as if she had said anything inappropriate, but they couldn't defend Du regarding the fact that he had vacated his position without informing anyone. Besides, even the senior found the 4th Battalion commander quite intimidating. Changing the topic, he said it was all thanks to Kim. SEO agreed, stating that Kim was truly exceptional. The senior nodded, adding that Kim had proven himself right in front of the division commander, and he was looking forward to the upcoming monthly meeting. Hi guys, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy the content.